Hello, everybody. The first comment I see is Blue Crossroads. Well, this looks like a bad matchup here. I actually think it's going to be a really interesting night because Mr. Crowley promised to behave himself. I'm very sorry I didn't get back to you yesterday. By the way, you don't know what it takes to make a phone call in this house with this toddler, but I do want to talk to you and Shauna about a few other things anyway. So just give me some time. I'll always message you first. That goes for anyone. Before I call you on the phone or like in a video chat, I always message first. And Palmer, this could be scary. Oh, I don't know. What are we going to be talking about? We're going to be talking a little bit about a lot of things, but the retrograde especially. And letting you guys know a little bit about how it's going to affect specifically 4 signs. And Lotus Girl, my soul sister from another mister, there I am talking to myself. Oh, Mr. Crowley, we love you. I don't know if I said Diesel Girl yet. Vixen Doe, what is up? Oh, don't forget to hit that like for me, guys. I would really appreciate it if you want to share out. Ghostdragonz, of course. Brown Dwarf, Chillin' Charlie. Sweetly Morbid Bear. She's playing with dirt and plant friends, lurking like everybody's shadow. You can lurk on me all you want. Will you be like the Burger King and just like hover over me for a little bit? I swear I wanted to be him for Halloween one year and just walk around doing that to people. Eris, welcome. Christine, oh, that's a new name. Welcome. And thank you for coming in. I hope you have fun. Blue Crossroads, Shauna, of course. Paranormal Pixie, Maraid, my wifey for lifey. New England Dirt Roadie, what is up? Shelly Montgomery, so nice to see you. Scott Moran, that is a new name. Perfect. Okay, yes, perfect. Pam Smith, my pancake. I'm going backwards now, guys, because that's kind of how my day has been, a little bit backwards. Who else do we have? I feel like I'm going really slow. Arlene Freeberg, Judy Wheeler. Yay, made it. Yes, that is awesome. Now let me bring in my 2 amazing and adorable co-hosts for the evening and in life. Here they are, guys. Ghostdragonz and Mr.
Hello,
Crowley.
everybody.
Oh,
I'm all
yeah.
wound up.
I feel like I'm going to need protection tonight. I don't know. What
Yeah, you might. You just might. You better get smudged.
Smudge that ish. What's going on, guys? How's your day going so far?
Go ahead, Mr. Crowley. You can go first.
Well, I'm hiding behind Ghostdragon, so
Everybody hides behind me for some reason. Even my family does.
It was a fantastic day. Beautiful outside. Everything is great. The world is wonderful.
It was actually really nice outside today. So a little warm for my taste.
It's toasty
but
here.
You know. Guys, I'm just
today.
gonna kind of jump right in and we'll talk about the Mercury retrograde. We'll talk about a couple things I got going on. Then if you guys, whatever you guys want to talk about, I was gonna talk about Crowley gave me a link actually that I'm gonna use too. It's like Starseedish astrology. I'll explain it as we go along. And if you guys, Starseed type characteristics, because I know you guys really got a kick out of when we did the show where we were looking up your guys' sun and moon combinations. So we figured we would go that route, at least for the first hour, and see how you guys like it, and then see, thank you. Okay. And then see how you guys do. If you guys would take over the chat for just a minute so I can send my husband the link, I would really appreciate it.
That's I don't know. Like with the star chart thing, I'm kind of a rookie.
Yeah, I'm learning a lot of that too.
Is it uninteresting to you, or you just don't know much about it?
I'm more of a scientific type mind.
Okay.
So I don't want to be Captain Poo Poo on things.
No, and you know, you got to have an open mind. I love listening to the science part of it, but astrology and astronomy are actually the oldest science in the world. They're the oldest science known to man, you know?
Well, there's actually an article that I read that said modern day psychology has destroyed astrology.
Yes, it has in a lot of ways.
So yeah, you know, in a few ways I can see that.
Yeah, I always keep an open mind, and I try to look at the different, you know what I mean, the counter arguments for everything. So
that's kind of what I like to do too. I'm sorry, guys. I just want to send this link, and I forgot to share it out. It was a hectic day here in the Gemma Jade household, but we're gonna be all right. I'm winding down. I got my Red Bull to help me wind down.
And I thought I was the one that was going to be a pain in the butt tonight.
Everything that could go wrong went wrong. Johnny Yuma, welcome. Nicole Perone. We had a mix up on Wednesday night, Nicole. Nick Y, my Nikki, what is up? Where Ghostdragonz called your name and then somebody else said no, it's pronounced Nicola, because they were talking about Nikolai and you did not get a reading. So when you come in Wednesday, Nicole, if you come in tomorrow, as soon as you come in, I'll make sure that I get you reading done. I didn't realize it until like 5 hours later. I was laying in bed and I was like, oh, there was a Nicole. So just want to make sure I put that out there. So guys, let me just skim through this article, and it's something I'm going to put up on Moon Bear too. You guys, I'm going to put it in the private chat for you so you can follow what I'm talking about, because that always helps. And this show, you know, we're kind of just figuring things out, what we're going to be doing, what the format's going to be. I would love to have you guys come in and tell your encounters maybe in the last, you know, we might go to 10:30. I do have a video to film, but, you know, so this is what I'm getting this from, guys. I put it in private chat. But we're trying to get like a set kind of format. But the problem is I don't have a lot of time during the day, you know, so it's hard for me. But I think this weekend I'm going to get a lot done. And maybe when we come back next Tuesday, we'll have less of a freestyle kind of format here. So Mercury retrograde won't be over until June 3rd. Okay. And I keep seeing it starts on today. But I actually think it doesn't start until May 22nd. Either way, and I should know that. Yes, I admit. Cats and peacocks, what's up? But I don't. Unfortunately, I haven't been following really the planets. Again, not a lot of time. But either way, even if it starts on the 22nd, we're just entering that like 10 to 15 day shadow period. Okay, where everything's kind of going wonky. You know, I'm losing my cool. So, okay, it starts in Gemini and switches to Taurus on the 22nd. So it probably is starting right now. I want to get into to how it affects each sign, if I can find it. Okay, so Taurus, I'm going to start with you guys, okay? And drop your sign in the chat. So it says, don't say, I'm gonna paraphrase because I don't like reading word for word somebody else's stuff. Don't say we didn't warn you. The transit is moving in on your first house of self and second house of finances. To keep it simple, the time has come to deal with what or whoever you've been avoiding. So no putting things off. Taurus is a sign of self-worth. So someone in your life could be devaluing you. Communicate your needs and feelings. Now, we normally don't say that during a retrograde because things like this says get lost in translation. People misinterpret what we say, even if we're super clear, right? But Taurus, there's an exception to every rule, and you are it for this retrograde. That way, at the end of the day, if things blow up or go nuts, you can be like, hey, I tried, I communicated this to you. And maybe it's time to look into your finances, really see where your money's going, being aware of your spending habits, be really honest with yourself about, you know, what you really can cut back on if you're kind of trying to stick to a budget, or at least just stay aware. Okay. Virgo, worst nightmare, public embarrassment. It doesn't mean it's bound to happen, but it's more likely that it will. This transit will impact your 10th house of public image. All eyes are on you, so keep your head held high and just do your absolute bestest. But we don't need to tell you that because you always do. And I know, Ghostdragonz, you are a Virgo. Brace yourself for faulty communication, like everyone's going to have. That could look like waiting to post a questionable social media post, and make sure you double check any, it says work emails, but any emails at all, guys. And this is really important during a retrograde. Be sure to double check, triple check any written or typed correspondence, text messages. You know, if you're angry and you're texting, go over it and like wait a little while. Take a look at it again, because you're bound to say things you don't mean. And even if you mean what you say and say what you mean, it's still going to be misinterpreted, especially when you're dealing with certain other signs. You might find yourself asking a lot more questions than normal. You're a little bit of a control freak, but that's okay. Find the fun in letting go and understand that mistakes are a part of life. Have grace and go easy on yourself. Virgos are always very graceful. But yeah, take it easy on yourself. And of course, because we're affected by everything, us Pisces, and these are sun signs, right? We've talked about moon and rising before. And guys, we're not going to talk about astrology the entire time, so don't get excited. So Pisces, how is your family getting along? Mercury retrograde is infringing upon your 4th house of home and family. And for me, that's really strange because things in my house have been absolutely incredible. And I'm going to knock on wood there. So I'm a witch. I manifest my own destiny, and I'm not going to allow the retrograde to touch me as far as my home life. Expect changes in living situations. Be wary of any rash decisions. Life is going to feel extra hard like it does during every retrograde, but especially the ones in the air signs, because it's that overthinking, and that's what we do all the time anyway. A sign from the universe that your home situation really needs to be addressed, and you've been putting it off long enough. And that's crazy because this kind of just happened in my life and it worked out for the absolute best. Whether you live with family or roommates, be honest about how you feel. And remember, be sure you're communicating yourself the right way. Physical issues within the home. Yes, it's super annoying that your microwave decided to stop working, but the problem is fixable. Have patience and keep your perspective. Pisces are known for being super sensitive, but just remember, you don't need to feel the weight of the world all of the time. Focus on those who are closest to you and give yourself space to breathe. And that's where I've been finding the hardest lately is finding that space to just take a breath. You know, I don't want to text all day, but I have so many text messages. It takes me 2 hours just to respond one word to all of them, you know? And it's not like, ooh, I'm so popular, because I hate it. And I'm having an issue with like water on my knee, which sounds really, really fun. I don't know where it came from or why it's there. So the last sign that's going to be super affected by the retrograde is actually Gemini, which surprises me because Gemini usually is not affected by the Gemini retrograde as much as other signs.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Okay. For us newbies, what's retrograde?
I'll tell you as soon as I finish reading Gemini.
Okay.
An existential crisis awaits you, Gemini, but you already kind of know that. Introspection can be a positive thing so long as you don't allow your thoughts to become all-consuming. And Gemini being an air sign, depending on what the rest of your chart looks like, okay, that may be a little bit hard to do. Now that you asked me a question I can't easily explain, I have to look that up too. Get outside and ground yourself. And if you want, you can literally ground yourself. Stand with your feet in the dirt and pretend you're a tree and imagine just all of your roots growing into the ground and really putting you somewhere. But don't make it somewhere where you don't like to be. You know, don't go to like the DMV and go outside and ground yourself. Keep perspective. You don't always need to be connected with everyone, and you're better off just connected with yourself. Okay. So if you need to take a break from social media, from, you know, even just texting, you know, what are you laughing at?
Each other.
Oh,
we loving on you.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
So the retrograde meaning, okay, when Mercury, I know it means that it retrograded, but I don't know how to. When Mercury's in retrograde, technology, communication, travel, logic, and information all get disrupted. But understanding Mercury's retrograde meaning, the risk and benefits behind it all. Can you not do that, computer? Thank you. The sign it's in, as well as how long it lasts, can help you deal with astrology's most nerve-wracking event. Okay. So hopefully that gives me more. Okay. The planet Mercury is associated with communication, information, electronics, travel, and clear thinking. So when it's retrograde, we have to be ready for a slowdown in all of these things. Things break, projects stall, we lose things, we break up, schedules are thrown off balance. The planet's reputation for really screwing things up is real, but it's also due to the fast-paced lifestyle we're so used to living. In our technology-focused society where emails, texts, and reliable Wi-Fi are everything, the planet of communication has a really big job. So when Mercury goes haywire during its retrograde, and I will explain what retrograde actually means, it hits us where it hurts. After all, you might be reading the article on your phone, all between snaps, texts, booking flights, and mapping your route to the restaurant you made an online reservation for. Understandably, if your phone suddenly shuts down, a message gets lost, or travel is delayed, it's a major inconvenience. But that's exactly what it is, guys. It's just an inconvenience, and you have to remember that. So first, the meaning, the name is deceptive. The planet isn't even reversing its orbit. And this is a big thing. I was very surprised. It was years ago when I learned this. I was like, then why do we call it that? Simply put, Mercury retrograde describes an optical illusion during which the planet only appears, like if you're looking, I guess, through a telescope or from space, to be moving backward. Oh, from our viewpoint on Earth. That wouldn't make sense for space. I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about. Mercury isn't the only planet to experience this, and in fact, all the planets undergo retrograde periods. During this perceived backward motion, the things the retrograding planet is associated with are cut loose, as its parent is no longer, quote unquote, on track. That's why we see upset with relationships, technology, or contracts with Mercury, the communication planet. And it does have benefits, guys, so here it is. While this period may feel like you're shaking up your entire world, like, why did I have to run into my ex? Mercury retrograde isn't just a run of bad luck. The harsh side effects of this transit are generally things that are meant to happen for the better. This is like the universe's spring cleaning 3 or more times a year, right? It's time where the universe is like, okay, that's it. Time for a slowdown or time for this. So it is things that are supposed to happen. It's astrology's way of forcing us to review, recheck, and revisit. Given that Mercury retrograde isn't a time to start something new, it makes sense that we should slow down and recalibrate our lives. That said, you may be thinking about everything ranging from health to career, and knowing what to do and expect ahead of time is one of the best ways to handle the inevitable surprises that Mercury brings. And I was actually planning on doing a video, a short one, like maybe 20-30 minutes for Moon Bear on this. So anyone that came in that I didn't see, Sunny Bear, Paranormal Chop Shop, Andrew, and Gnomes Trucking Express, Jeanette Sanchez, and anyone else I don't see. Yes, Lara, it's energetic clearing. What do you guys think about that? Jessa, yeah, I do read way too fast. I know. I'm sorry, guys. I'm from Jersey. It's just, it's what I do. I don't know. I'm so sorry. So what do you think?
I love Blue Crossroads, man. Here you go.
Yeah, I know. And you know what? If it was anyone but Blue Crossroads, I would probably be like, listen, jerk, don't come in. Okay. But because I love him and he's my brother, I just let him go.
Yeah,
go off, Blue Crossroads. Go off. You have
Go
to have
off.
both sides of all sides of the spectrum. I don't expect everyone who comes in here to be a believer. As long as you're respectful, I don't care what your opinion is.
Right.
Crowley, what do you think about all this?
Just don't go off on me. That's no.
Just don't
You
go
guys
off.
are my brothers. I would never.
My goal is to shut my mouth and stay 6 feet away from everybody.
I feel like what makes you feel good and what you believe in, if it makes a difference in your life, then it's a positive thing.
And that's, that's a really good outlook to have, to each their own. And if, it affects you positively. The thing I get aggravated with retrograde is like a lot of my clients or people that come to me, I get so many more requests for personals or like video chats for like spiritual guidance, which I love doing, but during the retrograde, because everyone's in such a panic. And I'm like, listen, if I were to start like this, if I had a bigger channel, like maybe 200,000 subs, I would just start this whole campaign of like Mercury retrograde is an amazing thing that brings such positivity into your life. And would I be lying? Because if you believe that, you're going to manifest that, right?
Oh, yeah.
So maybe I wouldn't be lying, because if you believe in it, there are people that are convinced that's how the oracle works, that people make it fit. Now, I know that's not true because I've come up with very specific things like your cat is sick, take it to the vet immediately. And I've been right. But for some people, so what? Like if that's what works, then
that's kind of like, that's like my background, Bigfoot with everything. And that's because Shannon LeGros and Connor, they give me a lot of crap about my Bigfoot stance, but that's kind of my way of saying I support you, and we'll meet in the middle because I believe in UFOs, you believe in Bigfoot, and here we are.
So wait. Let's use that as a segue. Roger Blair, welcome. And again, if I missed you, don't be offended. I just didn't see you because I was reading. Mr. Crowley, I do not know what your Bigfoot stance is, but I would love to hear it.
I'm a hunter. I have lived my life in the woods since I've been a small child, and I just don't see where you could hide something of that stature, but on the same token, there is a possibility, but the lack of physical evidence, like there's not one shred of physical evidence. You know,
Okay.
so that's kind of where I'm at. I'm not saying I disbelieve. I'm not saying that it could not be. I'm just saying it's highly
No, and I know a lot of people that feel that way. But I will remind you when you say that you and nobody else has ever been able to like definitively prove really that they've seen one, right? I mean, I'm going to speak in absolutes because this is something I know. That doesn't mean you have to accept or believe it, but they're actually from the 7th dimension, and they go in and out of portals as they see fit. They only come to the 3rd dimension because the frequency here is much lower, and they really like, I guess you could say, like the vibe, and they bring the little big feet. And I know people don't like when I say that, and I'm only kidding. I know that multiple Bigfoot are still called Bigfoot. But I forgot to put my bracelets on. So they bring their kind of kids, I don't know what it would be called, a baby Bigfoot, here to experience our woods and the vibration of our world, our vibe. But the problem is they're hunted all the time for that definitive evidence and probably for experimentation and just to be like, hey, I got a piece of Bigfoot for or whatever. And I don't know, I wouldn't take my kids, even my adult kids, into a place where I knew that there were going to be an alternate species of being hunting with, weapons that could kill. So that's their stance on why they are not going to ever allow themselves to be caught or seen until, at the very least, we shift collectively our consciousness to the 5th dimensional.
That is the only way I will buy it, is interdimensional. That's the only way. They're not terrestrial. They don't live here. That's the only way I would actually buy it. And I do put kind of, you got my message?
No, Jessa, I will,
text.
if you want to email me that, no, I don't like to use my phone during streams unless absolutely necessary. Jessica, if you want to email me that, I will talk about that with you all day long, but I can't talk about it here because YouTube will demonetize me.
Unfortunately,
I meant private on StreamYard.
Oh, because you were like, I'm looking at the private and you're like, no, text. But Jessa, please email me because I do have very strong opinions on that. Very strong. I don't know what that means.
Thank you, BJ.
You have to explain to me what that means. Like, talk about that with what? BJ, thank you so much. What about that person? What does he want to talk about?
That's Sonny from Paranormal Chop Shop.
No, I know who Sonny is, but you said he wants to talk about this unless that's too serious. I don't know what that is. What is... Who is that? What is it about? Just type it to me. Okay. Sunny's always welcome, but I just need to make sure I know what we're bringing on here. So, this is really cool. I know I take up and kind of dominate the stream. That's why I decided to do so many on my channel, and I don't mean to do that, but it's nice to have, kind of like the open mind, like Ghostdragonz, who's like, okay, I can see all sides. And then me, who's like, no, I know it's this way, but I'll accept your opinion. And then Mr. Crowley brings a really nice kind of rounding out of that flow because he's completely on the opposite end of the spectrum with it. And I think that's really cool.
Not completely. That's the thing behind me.
Yeah, but you bring a little bit or a lot of bit actually of a different opinion than I've ever had on my show, which is really cool. It's usually just me and like very, very like-minded people like psychics, mediums. Those are the people I connect and communicate with a lot. And it's nice to have a different.
If we can't have a conversation about something, we'll never find an answer.
And that's what gets me so angry about this community. You're absolutely right, because everybody's like inter-fighting. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Everybody has a different opinion. There's a lot of big heads involved too. So you're going to have that no matter. At nine. Okay. Is that cool? Is he around for that? Sonny, are you around at 9 for that?
I don't know.
I think if we all would put our egos aside, then we might actually figure something out instead of being like,
I know more than you, and communication is important and fun. SDK4422. This is kind of a non-topic live stream for right now. I'd like to take callers if you guys have any experiences that you want to call in, like we did with Andrew and Mr. Crowley. I think it was like 2 weeks ago or last week. So Sunny apparently has no idea what I'm talking about.
That's where he said it. I'll message him.
Okay. So, yeah, it's not really topic based. I have topic based coming on Thursday and Saturday with Pine Island. I want to do a kind of campfire tale type vibe, but a little bit different, you know, a few more people. And we talk a lot about astrology and that kind of stuff on here. No, SDK, what is the good news? And I hope it's not going to be what I think it is, because
what good news?
I don't know. He said, has everyone heard the good news today? So, does anyone have any?
Well, the good news is you woke up with a new 24 hours to change the rest of your life. That's the good news.
That is. I woke up today. To me, that's very good news.
Every day's a new day. Every day's a new day. Tell me about it.
Paradox.
It's just going to sleep that I worry. Oh,
you guys are too much.
Did you look up that article? Look at it.
Yes, I did. I just was waiting for Sunny to. I didn't want to be on that for 40 minutes and then.
No. That's okay. I'll talk to him.
So, guys, I have this this article that Mr. Crowley sent to me because of something that Ghostdragonz had sent to me, and I didn't have time to look it up, of course. So, Ghostdragonz, while Mr. Crowley talks to Sunny, would you mind, like, oh, nice. Watch the chat for questions. Yeah. Holding public hearing about
that's what I'm doing.
In Congress.
Right.
Okay, so you know what I'm going to do after I cover the Starseeds? That'll be what we talk about. Okay, so in about 15 minutes, 20 minutes, we can move on to that. If that's what you guys want to talk about, that would be awesome.
Yeah, they're going to have public hearings too.
Yeah, that's really cool. Let me get through Starseed, and then if that's what you guys want, the reason I did this stream was to leave it up to you. You know, I'm coming in with some things for the first hour, and the second hour is you guys. So if that's what you guys want to discuss, we totally can. I don't know a lot about it. I'm extremely new to the UFO community, but I would love to be educated. I mean, let me know. So let's start with this. Are you a Starseed? Starseed types and characteristics revealed. I believe I'm an Earth Angel, not a Starseed, but a lot of you guys are definitely Starseeds. If ever you've looked up at the night sky and felt a connection with a bright planet or glowing cluster of stars, you might be feeling your soul's connection to a past or future life. Given that you came from stardust and have been infused with divine light, you might feel this connection deeply in your bones. Is it just an illusion? Or are you born from a distant star, a true descendant of a faraway light body or planet, a starseed? A lot of the times when I'm doing my personal readings, a lot of you guys are either starseeds or you have star ancestors trying to get a hold of you. After hundreds of years of analysis and lately more precise evaluation, it's estimated that there are over 10 billion galaxies in the known universe. And we'll talk about maybe next week the uni versus the multiverse, okay? Because I do believe it's a multiverse. It's estimated, I said that already, many say there are over 100 billion stars in the Milky Way, which is our home galaxy, all right? 1 billion trillion stars in the observable universe. While that number is massive, imagine the billions of realms and planets that are hidden from our view. Imagine the distances we'd have to travel. Consider the possibility that time does not exist and that all matter changes or expands in each moment. When we wonder about our origins, we might consider that Earth is one of many experiments during a time when collaborations of alien races seeded stars and planets to grow new worlds. When we die and then choose to reincarnate, it seems we have many options. And I said this before and I stand by it. As amorphous traveling souls, we are not We not only have this planet to consider, but many others throughout the billions of galaxies, realms, and universes, and with many continuums of space-time. It's in this way that our souls may have birthed 1,000 times in 1,000 different galaxies. We may also be living in simultaneous co-joined lives in a variety of places within several space-time platforms. And I will say this, I need to interject right here, and I want to see what you guys think about this, okay? So I was watching this show about haunted houses and haunted people, and someone finally said something that I'd been saying and thinking for a really long time, right? This woman was standing by the fire in her new house, and they thought they had ghosts. You know, they had something there that was bothering them, mainly little kids and like this really serious, somber looking, you know, farmer looking man. So as she puts a log in the fire, she turns around and suddenly she's in the 1700s. The room that she's standing in the house was built in the early 1700s. So she must be seeing the original family, who obviously have all passed away. She sees the mother call the little kids to, Scott, hold that thought. She sees the mother call the little kids to the dinner table. She sees the father and some other grown man sit down, and she sees the little boy tap the father on the shoulder and whisper in his ear, and they all turn to look at her, and the man says something like this to the little boy, and they all put their heads down and start eating. Were they ghosts? Or is it more like what I've been saying and what a lot of people have been saying, is that time is not linear. We live all of our past lives, future lives, and present lives right now, but on different, in different dimensions, on different realms, and on different vibrational frequencies. So 1730 Gemma is living right now on a different frequency. It's not that I died and was reborn again. I do use the term reincarnation because it's very easy and people understand it, but I really don't like using it because it's not really accurate. Imprint, time slip, absolutely. Scott Morian, I don't want to reincarnate. This life has been tough. Listen, when you decide to incarnate on Earth, all right, I used to say that too until I realized what was actually going on and started paying attention to spirit and my higher self, right? When you decide to incarnate on Earth, it's because your soul is looking to learn something. You can incarnate in Zeta Reticuli. You can incarnate in 1614. You can incarnate in 4702. Your soul needed to learn something specifically in the time from when you were born until when you die. Okay? That is why you've incarnated now. So it's supposed to be tough. They say that Earth is the toughest planet because we're so filled with and fueled by emotions. And we have something no other species has. No other, I don't want to say extraterrestrial species, but I guess that's what I mean. And if there's a better way to say it, guys, correct me. They don't have ego. The reptilians do, but that's a whole different thing because they have a different way of thinking and working. But we're the only ones with ego, and we're the only ones with such a broad and vast range of emotions. Now, some of them do have, some extraterrestrials do have plenty of emotions, but they're not ruled by them. You know, if, you know, they decided to smack, you know, the man decides to smack the woman around, she's leaving. You know, they don't connect and attach in that way. That we do. So they find us very interesting. They view us often. A lot of the time you feel like you're being watched, probably because we all are. Earth is the Stanford University of spiritual learning, and it really is. So you can decide not to incarnate and to stay in energy or light being or a soul, or you can decide to go somewhere where it's, you know, super easy and super peaceful. We were actually turned off, I believe, from 2012 to like 2020. Turned off, meaning we could still communicate with them. They could still communicate with us, but they couldn't watch us as a planet unit 24/7 like they do. We're like their favorite reality TV up there. I'm not saying they watch us on TV, but we're like their favorite reality show, you know, and I truly believe that.
We're
and
nuts.
I really want to know what Mr. Crowley thinks about that.
I am trying to figure out why I'm commenting as you right now.
Because you're typing.
I'm looking and I'm like, why is he doing that?
He's doing it in the StreamYard. That's why.
Scotty FJC, because you have to go to YouTube, to this stream on YouTube, mute it, and then you can comment as you.
Yeah,
Hilton,
that's why I'm doing it. That's how I do
I
it.
was like, damn, I look good right now.
Look, I tried to cartoon you guys like I cartooned me for the
I
thumbnail.
just snorted.
Dragons, it had no effect on you, and Crowley, you could barely tell. I need
I'm cartoon
good
already. That's because I'm really a
selfies.
cartoon.
She just said it had no effect on me.
Good selfies. It did. If you look at the thumbnail for this video, you look like it penciled you a little bit. Dragons, because I used the dragon face, it had no effect. And
I was gonna
what's
say,
up?
probably didn't.
So what were you asking me? I'm sorry. I just got...
Well, I was asking. I didn't mean it like that. Before I get into the characteristics of Starseed, and I'm kind of going to breeze through those because we're running out, and I want to get into the UAP phenomenon. I don't know. I was asking you, what do you think about what I just said about incarnating again and being able to go other places, or do you think it's absolute that like? What do you think about reincarnation in general?
Well, you know, I'm a Buddhist now. I'm not sure we have time.
That's a long explanation there,
Yeah,
bud.
I'm not sure we
Very
have time to get into that, or if this is the hour where you want to go into that.
How about
just
give me like, do you, I don't need an hour on Buddhism. I just need to know, like, do you believe, okay, let's do it this way. Do you believe that we're watched as like a reality TV channel by other, by extraterrestrials, and that they study us because they don't understand our emotion and our ego?
No, would you watch a TV channel about ants for hours on end?
But we're not ants.
No, I might.
Well, that's presuming though that they look at us as ants. We're not ants.
But they have an intelligent,
but they don't have the emotional component. That's what they're interested in. That's why they watch us and they laugh. They're like,
how do you know?
How
do you know? How do you know they don't have an emotional component?
Because I'm a psychic and I've channeled many of them.
Okay.
You sure that wasn't you channeling?
I don't know. I just have extensive feelings on reincarnation, and the person that you are now, your body cells regenerate. I can't remember. It's like 5 to 7 years. Your entire body cells that you have now have completely regenerated in 5 to 7 years. So the person you are now could never reincarnate in the future because you're entirely changed.
But you're not reincarnating this body. I'm not going to be Gemma and look like this in my next incarnation.
But you also look like all of your relatives from thousands of years ago because they've all been a part of your genealogy. You look like
so my soul will go into the womb and reincarnate as a part of that family and that genealogy when I'm ready to do that.
Okay. So the soul, no, I understand. I understand what you're saying. But
I'm just going to stay neutral here for a second.
No, I'm
because I know Buddhism.
He's so worried I'm going to get like angry. I'm not. I'm genuinely interested in having a.
But it is a conversation. It's a.
She gets angry at me all the time. It's okay. I survive.
But not live.
No, she gets angry at me all the time. We survive. But no, it's just it's such an in-depth conversation that it's really hard to give you a generic answer to that question without like really delving into.
I could take that
the soul and where the soul comes from. Is it really real? What compromises the soul? What carries the soul on? What physicality does it have? It's just like too much of an in-depth answer.
Do you base and this is as a Christian, I could tell you mostly I do this, so it's just really, it's not a loaded question or anything. It might be a little bit of a hard question, but as a psychic and a self-proclaimed witch, and I hate that word, sensitive,
no, you're a witch,
magic practitioner, a witch with a B. I would say that I do base a lot of my opinions and ideals on my religion. The whole New Testament, really. But at the same time, I still have these outside beliefs. Is it confusing for me? Yeah. Is it hard for me sometimes to accept one or the other, or accept the religion because of things that I know? Absolutely. But I believe, there's a lot hidden from the Bible specifically. paradox fossils, and this kind of goes to my point, I think, because I almost forgot it. When I see a spiritual being, I see them in such a way as to see many of their incarnations simultaneously. So in explaining, I lost my question.
Okay, so let me explain to you. Okay, I'm not religious. I never have been. I have been party to many religions. I grew up Orthodox, Christian, Catholic. I grew up in all those things. Okay, and I've never been a religious person. I'm now a Buddhist, which is obviously not a religion. It's more of a belief.
Well, that's not obvious because I didn't know that.
Well,
Yes.
it's not a religion. It's more of a belief system.
It's a way
But
of
the
thought.
simple fact is that Jesus was purportedly studied Buddhism. Okay, and we believe in Jewish, religion. We believe in Christian religion. We believe in Catholic religion. We give credit and sustenance to all those religions. So answering certain questions is really hard because I came not being religious, but I do accept religion on all the levels. So it's hard, to you want to say about reincarnation. I accept all the religions, but I have to accept their beliefs and their non-beliefs. And they don't believe in reincarnation. Some do believe in reincarnation. So it's a hard question to answer. Most certainly is.
That's kind of one of the things I was getting to, and I really wish I had written that down. I even keep a pad here because this happens all the time, because it was a really good train of thought, and it probably could have taken the next hour, and I was ready to do that. But like, I can't base all of my opinions and beliefs on my religion as much as I would love to, because one, I think there are parts of the Bible that have been purposefully hidden and kept from us. But on a much larger scale, I also know what I've experienced in my life, and the things that I've seen, and the entities that I've come into contact with. And so for me, I can't have an opinion that's totally inclusive of my Christianity.
But if you look back,
yes,
if you look back through religious history, beyond all these religions, they all have very, very many similarities between them. Very many beliefs, very many tales kind of, go together for all these religions. So it's kind of hard to say that one religion is more right than the other one, because they all pretty much have the same value systems and the same beliefs and the same legends, and the same mythos. You want to say mythos, you know what I mean? And they all kind of have the same stories, just told from a different angle.
And that's a really great point, Nicole. Exactly. The problem is you're not supposed to cherry pick your religion, but we all do. And I have that issue with Christianity, because I don't want to believe that I'm a sinner, and I don't want to talk too much about the religious aspect. The reason I brought it up is because I had this really amazing thought that I wanted to ask you to go with, and I completely lost it. So,
well, like I said, I believe in aspects of all the different religions, so it's hard to give you a specific answer on the question that you're asking, because I have to take into account.
No, that's fine. I didn't get to ask the question because I forgot what it was.
I already knew what your question was. I got you already.
I feel like I didn't really I used to mock a certain religion because I felt like their prophet was, a bit of a shady character. And there were a lot of rumors around this prophet that he had relations with his daughters against their will. And about 3 or 4 months ago, I was watching someone who was channeling some higher being, an extraterrestrial. And I reached out, and of course, I only got a dream answer that I remembered 30 seconds of. But it turns out that this person was a real prophet, and he did bring the actual word to these people. And it turns out, Jesus, from what I understand, and we are going to move right on to the UAP phenomenon, is the only one who didn't say, trust me. And to me, that was a big deal. And that's one of the reasons I accept Christianity. He didn't go into the woods and come out and say, I got this message, now trust me. The resurrected Christ appeared to at least 5,000 separate witnesses. With that being said, and it's not because I don't want you guys to tell me I'm wrong, and we could definitely talk about it privately. I don't want to get religious because I can get in trouble with YouTube, and I could lose a lot of people because I don't want them to I promised I would never get religious. So
the base value with this is we should all accept and appreciate everybody's beliefs and everybody's,
I learned a big lesson.
Yeah, and that's the thing is it doesn't have to be a religious thing. We're talking about history. We're talking about fables. We're talking about mythos. We're talking about how it relates to ghost, reincarnation, how it pertains to UFOs.
Planets, really.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be, about religion. It has to be about, stories that were shared throughout, some of the longest standing, written words.
Right.
By humans. So that's just kind of
guys. I want to move right along, and I definitely appreciate Mr. Crowley, your opinions and your the way that you're presenting them. I really like that. It didn't have to be an argument, and that was really cool. So I want to say that my third book, the Shadow Person book, I have come across some information that may actually explain what the BEK are, and I'm going to bring that to you guys before I bring you the third book. UAP phenomenon. Can either one of you guys explain this while I look it up and try to get in the loop here? And Pineapple Research, what is up?
Oh, well, there's different UAPs. We're talking about unidentified aerial phenomena. But on the same token, you got submerged unidentified phenomena as well.
I know what they are. And
there's a different level. You got ground-based things, you got sky-based things, you have, inner space things, and then you have the sea things. So it's kind of like, which one do you want to focus on?
Well, whatever they're bringing up, they're saying that there's going to be there's something going on with the government and UAP phenomenon. Somebody, SDK, just brought it into the chat. That's the only reason I brought it up. I figured you guys would want to talk about it.
I missed that completely.
Yeah, shit. They're going to do hearings, and they're also going to do public hearings.
Public hearings on UAP phenomenon.
Yes. I work for the government. I have all my life for the most part. So I don't put much credence into what is shared with
the public.
Yeah. So it's
kind of a hit and miss. Sometimes they drop some little bombs in their little messages, but it's usually so scattered.
If I'm here to protect you, I'm not going to tell you I don't know what's going on.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So you have to understand it from that ideology. Is they're not just going to say, I have no idea what the F this is. You know what I mean? Because they want you to have their trust. They want you to support them. So it's a slippery slope for sure.
This site that you sent me that Starseed thing on, holy crap. I have content for months. So I found something that I really think that we could talk about. Yeah, Crowley, thank you so much.
Mine wasn't good enough. They wanted to charge you.
I wanted to bring this up because I recently talked about this somewhere else, and I think this is cool. So it's talking about the Force. You guys know, if you watched me somewhere else, that I believe that the Force is actually a thing. So I'm gonna read this. It's about global consciousness. And guys, remember, this is only our third week. So
give me 30 seconds.
Yeah, go ahead. Not all that long ago, if you told someone that soon everybody and their brother would be walking around with a little device that could instantaneously access the global library of human experience, allow immediate contact with anyone else on the entire planet, let you instantly enjoy practically any form of media you wanted, and even allow you to broadcast yourself all over the world from wherever you stood, most folks would have thought that you were a couple of sandwiches short of a picnic. I really like that one. Guys, don't forget, super chats are on, and there are other ways to donate in the description box, and my merch store is also, the link is in the description box. Now, this technological form of global consciousness alive in cyberspace is our working day-to-day reality. I was born long enough after quantum physics, yet what I was taught in school was still essentially the world according to Isaac Newton, who died in the 17th century, okay? It was a beautiful world of baby billiard balls joined together like tinker toys by gravitational and electromagnetic forces at every level, from the configurations of atoms and their molecules to the bonds of chemistry to the arrangement of stars and planets. But as well as it all works, it turns out that classical physics does a great job at describing the way things generally work, just not the how or why they are the way they are. Because for that, we need to go much deeper. Newton knew this all right, proven by the fact that he spent so much of his life thinking and writing about alchemy, the combination of scientific method and esoteric curiosity that suggests the hard questions of consciousness, namely, how do you transmute a common element, lead, into something truly precious, into something imbued with a purer energy that shines with life, molds to any form, and can be superconduct life's animating power, something like gold. The reliable life-size surface of Newton's world has left us with the tradition of scientific materialism, which is the idea that consciousness spontaneously arose from the complexities of simple matter. But the incredibly reliable, unimaginable, minute world of quantum mechanics has demonstrated that the opposite is true, that matter is really waves of energy bound in fields awaiting consciousness to collapse it into its many forms. In this sense, the precision of quantum physics demonstrates that consciousness is a fundamental, pre-existing process in the universe, and matter, like ourselves, our earth and our heavens, are just forms generating its expression. So Obi-Wan Kenobi, describing the Force in Star Wars, said, quote, "It's an energy field created by all living things. It surrounds and penetrates us. It binds the galaxy together," end quote. When we look at all the parts of our world in a more holistic way, even starting at the tiny level of quanta, we see an intelligence of order that materialists may miss. At every level, life assumes similar arrangements and functions. Every size of earthly entity shares functional features of respiration, excretion, reproduction, and more. Every plant and animal, and even matter that's thought to be unconscious, like rocks and crystals, is built from intricate, familiar patterns. Consciousness doesn't appear in different forms. It appears as different forms in these patterns across the spectrum of life. The concept of a quote-unquote holographic universe applies as these patterns appear whole and complete and are fractally part of a larger whole system, mirroring their dynamics of energy and matter. Every piece reflects the complete arrangements of consciousness in the whole. So what am I talking about, guys? Quote, "The field is the sole governing agency of the particle matter," end quote, Albert Einstein. So this is talking about proof of global consciousness can be found just by looking for it. Sheldrake suggests these fields of energy inform the forms of life and bind everything together in a greater shared field of consciousness that's evidenced by the provable reality of extrapersonal sensation and communication, such as phantom limb sensation, telepathy between twins, as well as between mothers and their children, human and animal intuitive and precognitive intelligence, and remote viewing, unless you're a fake cryptid huntress. The proof of global consciousness can be found just by looking for it. As is often the case, it takes even more evidence to prove the miraculous than the mundane, even though all of life is a miracle. If I say my friend is really psychic and that my friend happens to be the entire planet, well, that's considered anecdotal. To prove it, I couldn't just provide you with an extrasensory example or two. I need a whole bunch of bona fide research. Fortunately, at this point, there are mountains of authenticated research data supporting the existence of a global consciousness, guys, and plenty of other phenomena considered paranormal by our institutions of dogma. And this is the type of stuff I really want to go deep on Moonbear. So Max Planck said, quote, "A new scientific truth does not triumph by convincing its opponents and making them see the light, but rather because its opponents eventually die and a new generation grows up that is familiar with it," end quote. So I'm going to read this last part and let's use the Force, what global consciousness can do. And then I'm going to turn it over to Crowley and let him talk for a little while about whatever he wants. The Princeton Global Consciousness Project originally began by inquisitive engineering professor Robert Jan and a developmental psychologist Brenda Dunn in the early 1970s, and has been accumulating data on the reality of global consciousness for many years, utilizing random event generators, devices that produce binary digital points of equally occurring probability, like zeros and ones, so code. They set out to demonstrate and document the human capacity to influence events simultaneously in remote locations all around the world, to cause or sense fluctuations in the Force. Their results have been remarkable, reliable, and they only remain controversial to people who apparently just don't want to see the light. It turns out that humans can remotely affect unconnected, technically impartial machines, and such machines can statistically measure the effects of major global significant events on global consciousness. From major global catastrophes to cultural events in small venues, the force of human interaction alters the output of the random generators well beyond any coincidence or margin of error. And it does it to varying degrees, often depending on our emotional, archetypal natures of the events, such as Carl Jung's collective unconscious. Could be Jung. The project maintains random event generators in up to 70 locations around the world, measuring and documenting fluctuations in the real field of global consciousness. Likewise, effects of the Maharishi effect, where transcendental meditators can influence the state of the world for better, of course, has been documented in over 600 studies, demonstrating that a small but critical mass of mediators can affect the crime rates in cities that are the subject of their focused intention. I used to be an atheist until I realized I am God. J. Krishnamurti. Let's use the force. What can global consciousness do? As part of this increasingly self-aware global entity unified in consciousness, we can all open ourselves to a new reality. We can recognize the unfathomable, mysterious field that everything comes from and returns to, a kind of ultimate ground of being that we can become more aware of by stepping up and claiming evolutional ownership in quantum physics, cyber consciousness, and the power of our verifiable sixth sensory perception. We know that this radiance of the eternal penetrates everything and everybody, and most importantly, we can hear its voice guiding our waves of human thought and action. It intuitively informs us of a graceful and responsible return to the wisdom of our indigenous ancestors, mixed with a completely modern way to live in a world unified by the potential of pure consciousness, a world that every human being deserves as their birthright. It's the force. A great resource for the further exploration of global consciousness and its potential is Edgar Mitchell's Institute of Noetic Sciences. Guys, I cannot, wait to go ham on this site and just bang a whole bunch of stuff out for Moon Bear, because this is absolutely incredible. Collective consciousness is something I speak on all the time, just all the time. Blue Heron, welcome, Blue Bear. Oh, Sweetly Morbid Bear said the same thing.
I'm going to step out for a minute, okay?
Are you okay?
Just give me a minute.
Okay, go ahead. So, Crowley, take the floor.
Oh, God. What do I want to take the floor with?
I don't know. I feel like I'm just talking. And because it's freeform, I want you to bring something out. Anything that you want.
That's what you do. We love
I know,
you for that.
but I don't want to do that with two other people on the
It's your show. But no, I don't even know where to go. God, there's so much going on right now with the scientific community, with just UAPs, UFOs, just a lot going on. It's kind of, where would I want to go with it right now? I kind of like delving into the UAP, the underwater thing, the Atlantis theory.
Go ahead.
That's kind of like where I like to go with that. And I would be curious to see what people would think. It was during Atlantis. Is there an established civilization under the oceans, beyond our reach?
And you believe they're still there? They're not lost?
I can't see a reason to disbelieve it.
I believe that too.
With the submerged objects coming out of the ocean and stuff like that. And then I kind of start getting on. I am a mess. I'm a hot mess whenever it comes to this, because then I get into vibrational frequencies. I was electronics tech in the Air Force, and I worked with electronics equipment, and I just kind of feel like there's vibrational frequencies. The Earth operates on a specific vibrational frequency. I can't remember exactly what it is, but we operate on a vibrational frequency, and we don't connect because we're on these different vibrational frequencies. So what's to say there's not things living here with us that are on different vibrational frequencies that we're just now starting to come in contact with and kind of align with our frequency. Our frequency has, increased, to the point that
I agree with that statement.
We're now starting to, kind of interconnect with these different things. That's why we're seeing them now. And our technology has come to a point to where we can actually start to, see things in their spectrum. So I love getting into this, and I love seeing people's opinions on it. You know what I mean? Do you think there's something underneath the seas? Do you
Me
think?
personally, oh, absolutely. I believe I believe there's so much that we may even be seeing and experiencing now, things that we think are coming from the sky or someplace other that are actually coming from parts of the ocean that we just haven't reached yet. I don't think we're meant to reach it, and I think we will when we're ready. I believe there are underground communities of who knows what under there, extraterrestrials, I don't know, mermaids, whatever. I believe literally anything is possible, and I believe all fairy tales and even you know, fictitious movies all come from somewhere. The idea, the seed is planted. Who's planted the seed for the Predator movie? And now, how many years later, we're having encounters with Predator entities? It all has to come from somewhere. And I never believed that Atlantis was sunk during that. You know, it was kind of like a war with Lemuria because they were both godlike beings, and one believed that we should be subservient, and the other one believed that Lemuria believed that we should be kind of built up and help to get to where they are. That's the story there. That's the narrative I go with, that I believe. But yeah, I believe there's so much. And there's even been people who have reported being abducted who said, no, I wasn't taken anywhere underground, and I wasn't taken into the sky. I was taken underwater. I covered this on the After Hours show when I was on there very early on. And it's fascinating to me. I love the ocean. And there's so much we don't know. So how can we possibly say yes or no to really anything? We can't say anything's off the table.
Well, that's kind of like the Glimmer Man and Lon and everybody from Jesus. I'm having such a hard time tonight. Expanded perspectives.
It's retrograde, honey.
It's expanded perspectives with the Glimmer Man and covering stories about the Glimmer Man. And that is so like you were talking about the Predator, you know?
Right. Yes.
And that's Glimmer Man. It's, do we have this, you know, military technology, you know, because I do know that we do have something akin to it, you know, with aircraft, to where the aircraft project the space above them to mask where they're at. So basically what they will do is kind of take a real-time picture of the sky above them and project it on the bottom of the aircraft so that nobody can actually see the aircraft type thing. So do we have that?
Kind of like in Chicken Litter in the movie, in the car?
Scared me. Scared me. It's like, no, yeah. I do you believe this brings me a good question for both of you guys and for you guys in the chat. I heard something recently that really kind of startled me. Do you believe it's possible that I believe a lot? Let me start with this. I believe a lot of the abduction, extraterrestrial fear, the UFO narrative that started, you know, right around Roswell, I guess. I believe that fear culture that society, government, whoever instilled in us was to get us to not investigate further. Do you believe that some abductions that are particularly violent could be something that's being simulated by the government? I heard recently, and I've still to look into it, but it wouldn't surprise me that there are some, like the reptilians will, you know, assault women and for their hybrid program and all that. But a lot of the, you know, abductions that happened in the 60s and in the 80s specifically, it's being accused now that they were actually the government. What's the word? Like using this really advanced tech to make a person feel as though they were being abducted, to put the story out there into the public. They chose people they purposely knew were going to come forward no matter what, and just to put this kind of fear culture in the public's mind so we would stop looking for the truth and stop investigating. Does that mean there's not violent aliens? No, but I think for the most part they're peaceful. Do you subscribe to that, or do you have any opinion on that?
I have 3 words to answer that. Smoke and mirrors.
Which one?
All of them.
Well, what do you mean that the government did that and it's smoke and mirrors of the fear culture is that I'm right, that it's fear culture by saying smoke and mirrors, or that like, are you agreeing with me or you're not? Because it could be smoke and mirrors. What I'm saying is just smoke and mirrors, or what the government did was smoke and mirrors for the fear culture. I don't understand.
God, it's so terrible. I'm trying to find the words for what I'm trying to say. Basically, I believe that it's misdirection.
Yes, look over here while I work over here.
Which is 90% of politics and human
And it's in everything right
as
now.
we are. It's everything. It's the news,
It's
it's media, it's the politics. It's look over here while we do this.
We don't watch the news in my house for that reason.
I think it's kind of started from that point, is kind of, let's just get crazy and throw crap out there. And while people are looking over there, we're doing our own thing.
Yeah.
Does it have pertinence to whether there's really aliens or whether they have aircraft or, any kind of machinery or mecha or, electronic, devices or anything else? I don't know. But I do believe to a point that it was kind of that's the other thing is I don't believe that the smoke and mirrors were completely because of alien technology. I think we did a lot of bad things.
Yeah. Thank you, Jason.
I think we did a lot of bad things. Thank you, Jason. That's awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think that we've done a lot of bad things that have tried to be covered up, and we kind of pointed fingers, or the United States government or the world government has pointed fingers in different directions to cover up their what they've done wrong.
So I agree totally. Jason Nepper, first of all, thank you so much for that. You asked, what do you all think of the theory that past terrestrial civilizations reached transcendence and the cryptids are all anthropologists researching their species' past? I have not heard that one yet, but I'm going to write it down and I'm going to look into it and get an answer for you if you want to come back next week. And that's probably something I would want to cover on my channel, to be honest with you. I don't know how much I would believe in it, because I believe that, yes, past terrestrial civilizations have reached transcendence, but I believe that I'm very new to the cryptid community too. To me, it's like, okay, maybe there's a Bigfoot, great. Until I saw the Glimmer Man. I mean, that's just how I've always felt, like Bigfoot, okay, hairy ape, great, not scary, But I believe that the UFOs are trying, most of them, or the extraterrestrials are trying to help us transcend. So the fact that the cryptids could be anthropologists, I'm going to look into that.
Yeah, I agree with the first half of what you said. As far as cryptids being anthropologists, I would have to look into that as well, for sure, because that's kind of a far stretch.
Jason, is that saying that researching species past, so is that, I mean, this can go off in so many different directions and tangents, but is that saying that cryptids, and let's use Bigfoot, our favorite, most of our favorite as an example, is that saying that Bigfoot is a three-dimensional and terrestrial being from here? You have to take that into consideration too. Or is he switching dimensions to come back here to do his research? But if he's interdimensional, then has he not hit transcendence? And my mind kind of blew with that question, with all of these different tangents of other break-off questions. And I'm going to look into this more. I did write it down. I can't give you a comprehensive or even a real answer right now because I've never heard this theory, but I definitely think it's very interesting.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep my kind of beliefs to myself right now because well,
as long as you're not offensive or disrespectful.
No. It's just transcendence. Like,
right.
Just with my newfound beliefs, I believe that we already are transcendent. Everything inside you is there already. You just have to find it.
So, but
we don't need help.
But we haven't transcended. I don't believe that. And here's why. We still have war. We're still spending billions and trillions on weapons. We're not all at peace. We're not a collective consciousness of peacefulness, and we're still killing each other and being horrible to each other, and even on a smaller scale bullying each other. Collective transcendence is reaching this higher state of consciousness where you're above, beyond, and past all of that, and you're at peace, and you're at peace with yourself and with everyone else, and you realize you're connected to God source, or to God consciousness, or to source, or you understand that you can speak to plants and they speak back to you. You understand that the small, not everyone understands that. So I believe that until we're fully transcended and we have reached transcension, we don't understand that. So we can't possibly be, how can we be transcended if we're killing each other off?
You're missing my point. Is I'm not saying you have transcended. What I'm saying is everything you need to transcend is inside you. You know, suffering,
right,
you have suffering and happiness. You have anger and, joy.
It's always been inside us, though. So obviously we're not getting the point. So it's
up to you to harness and, nourish those seeds of the positive things inside you to transcend. And
but not everyone knows that.
Everybody, but the thing is you do have those seeds inside you to transcend. It's up to you to water those seeds and nourish those seeds.
I think we both kind of think the same thing. I just believe that extraterrestrials are trying to help us, and you don't. I mean, I agree with everything you
I didn't
just
say
said.
that. I didn't say that.
Yes, you did. You said we don't need help, and then, yes, you did.
We don't need help. We don't need help. Are they trying to help us? Perhaps. But we don't need help because everything we have or everything we need is with us already.
Within our ability already.
I don't understand how you can see that.
There's so many views.
Yes, we need it. Yes. Yes, we have it all within us. Right. But if nobody told me in 2016 about Jesus in the Bible and gave me a Bible to read, I may not be a Christian right now, and I may not have accepted that truth because nobody taught it to me. I didn't just know. Like, I've looked at Bibles, but I didn't know where to look, and maybe that's a bad example, but like there are not everybody has me as a mom where I'm teaching my son to help plants that are stuck around signs and say, have a nice day, little plant. I hope you're not too hurt. Not all moms are out there looking for ETs, and my parents weren't. So if I didn't come to this learning and knowledge on my own with the help of like-minded people, then maybe I never would have understood it or knew it. I believe there are people out there that are so bogged down by either, evil, or I don't know. I know we all have it. I agree with you 100% there, because I actually say that all the time. We have everything that we need. It's just the bringing out of it. I mean, as a human race, we're not really getting it. And I believe that's because of ego, to be honest with you.
And I agree with that 1000%. And that's what I'm trying to say. Like, I see Ann, Edna, and Pam and everybody, responding to what I'm saying. Is the simple fact is it's there inside you. You already have it. You know what I mean? Do you need help? Maybe. But the simple fact is you already have it. It's there. All you have to do is look deep and find it. And, you know my transformation. You already know me better than anybody on this channel right now.
No.
And you just have to believe and understand that it's already there. Everything's there.
I guess in a way you're kind of right, because a lot of us, it takes hitting absolute rock bottom or going through the absolute worst, and then we're like, dude, and then
we've already been there.
I know for me, suddenly there was this light that was like, you need to do this for yourself. You need to start doing this, and you need to. And I told myself everything I needed to do. I'm in full belief that I actually wasn't telling myself, and I was receiving messages, but still, like, whether you believe you're receiving messages or you believe. So I do believe that. I feel like there are so many people that won't even give this subject the time of day, but I think if an extraterrestrial landed and was like, yo, like, this is what's going on, people might believe it. I do believe very strongly that they're helping us, but I know a lot of people that, like you, really don't believe it or are unsure. I think people are still really afraid. And I'm not saying you are, but I think in general, even I come across a lot of people that are really afraid of anything having to do with extraterrestrials. I was one of those people.
No, we all need help. We do. And I don't care how strong of a person you think you are, what you have inside you, or anything else. And I'm kind of going against what I just said. But the simple fact is, we all do need help. Whether it's from the inside, whether it's from the outside, we all need help. You know, and you have to determine and seek out the help that is going to make things better for you. You know, regardless of what that is. It's not a sign of weakness. It's not a sign of anything like that. It's, you know, we all have different needs and we all have different ways of getting to where we need to be, you know, and just me, I kind of found like the strongest person in my life was me, kind of
For
thing.
sure.
You know, and I understand there may be other entities out there trying to help me. There may be other things out there trying to help me, extraterrestrials, whatever else. But the simple fact is I'm not going to, that's not going to benefit me until I accept it, kind of thing.
Two things. Sweetly Morbid Bear, absolutely. We see space next to us, but really there's worlds all around us and many help us. And then Anna, I see you. So just give me a second, because Black Dragon, we can do what the spirits do. And I say that so often, especially in my spiritual one-on-ones with people and my personals. Like, once you realize that you are connected to, whether you want to call it God consciousness or source, whatever it is, that you're connected to the same thing everyone else around you is connected to and connected to them. Are there contradictions? Yeah. We're full of them, because we don't know everything, and we're being lied to by the people we're supposed to look to for answers. So yeah, some of it is contradictory. People say that to me all the time. Yeah, but you just said this, and I'm like, yeah, okay, well, I'm sorry. It's, you know, these are the things that I've come to learn, and I can't wrap my head around it. What do we use? Like 40% of our brain, not even. And Edna, you said something too that I kind of starred here, but okay. You said, I believe Gemma is right. They have been here since forever. If they wanted to destroy us, they could have a long time ago. And I say at the end of our video I'm actually filming tonight, a script I wrote, and I've said it numerous times, like, if that's really the case, and this is something completely different, like, if they wanted to destroy us, talking about the fear element in thinking of extraterrestrials, right? If they wanted to destroy us, what are they waiting for? For us to become more technologically advanced and put up a bigger fight? People are like, why wouldn't they land on the White House lawn? The president doesn't rule the world, guys. Like, I'm sorry, the president of the United States isn't the leader of the world. Why would they? You know, and I don't know.
Can I make a short point on that?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So this is kind of extrapolate on what you were saying. It's, if they want to destroy us, they would have. Okay. But we're sitting here saying they are, they're here. Obviously, it's been scientifically and proven on video, militarily, and everything else. They're here. Okay. It's here. Whatever it is, it's here. Okay. The simple fact is, we don't understand if it's a threat to us. What threat? It could have destroyed us years ago. It is millennia beyond anything we understand. Okay. What threat is it? If it was a threat, it would have already done what it wanted to do. It's not going to wait till now. Oh, guess what? Oh shit, you saw me.
That's what I mean? Yeah, you can't curse on here though.
I'm sorry.
Even the poop word is a curse.
Okay,
that's okay. I have to stop myself sometimes. That's exactly what I mean. It's like they're waiting for us to get so technologically advanced we could actually put up a fight. That's going to take millennia. You know, nobody that I know will be alive to see it. I keep losing what I'm thinking.
I was almost good for the night. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It's one little slip. It's not a big deal. I just want to make sure I have to say it. Otherwise I could get in trouble. Something that Andrew and Noam said pertained to what I was going to say. And I've had a rough day. I keep forgetting my thoughts, and I really hate when that happened. This is another thing that I've recently come across that I've done a lot of research into, and I decided that I believe just like humans, there are good and there are good and bad, just to use those terms. That's a very simplified term. Jason, hold that thought. I will get to that. But I do believe that there are some out there who would love to come and enslave us. And I believe, and this is a personal belief, and I know it's a little off the wall, but I believe back when the Egyptians were building the pyramids and all that, whatever they were getting help for, I believe that they were close with the reptilians, and the reptilians were trying to enslave them. I believe that a lot of extraterrestrial entities are trying to stop the races that want to overtake us. Jason Nepper says, I think it's a little dangerous to presume that we can correctly attribute motivation to a non-human intelligence. I understand that, and I totally agree. But if you look at the history of it, I mean, they've been coming here for, there's hieroglyphs or hieroglyphics, however you say it, from as far back as ancient Egypt, as far back as people could draw. They were drawing spaceships and mainly the Greys and the reptilians, as we call them. And they would have sure. I mean, we're getting more technologically advanced as time goes on. So while it's dangerous to presume their motivation, we can also, I mean, in my opinion, we can also kind of say, if we look at the history and the facts of the matter, is they haven't attacked, they haven't tried to enslave. So again, what are they waiting for us to catch up with them in technology and weaponry? That doesn't make sense. That's not assuming motivation. That's common sense, in my opinion.
We're just doing our own thing, and we're not in their radar, plain and simple. You know what I mean? They're doing their own thing on their own level, and we're not even in their radar. We're just kind of getting in the way now, kind of thing.
I feel like they're worried. I feel like they're like living above a meth lab at this point, and Earth is the meth lab that's about to explode. They like lock their doors when they ride past Earth. And I know those are funny memes or just memes. I think they're hilarious, but I feel like it's true. I mean, we're like they're worried that we're going to blow up the planet or something. And I feel like that's what their interest is in us right now. I feel like back with the ancient Egyptians building the pyramids and all that, they were interested in helping. But now, we can post a picture of them within, a millisecond and half the world can see it, and eventually the whole world. But I feel like now they have to be much more discreet. But I do still feel like they're helping us, whether they're helping us pull out what's already there, or whether they're, there's this thing, and I only know like a broad base of it. Hey, Spookles. But like, didn't they like fly over like where we have our nukes and like turn them off for a minute or two during the Russian standoff? And it was just kind of like, why didn't they just disarm them altogether? Do you know what I mean? If they wanted to disarm us and invade, they just turn them off to kind of show us that they're watching, in my opinion, and that they can. Ant people were very prevalent in cave drawings. That's interesting. I'm going to have to look that up too. This is why I love these freeform chats, because despite all the talking that I do see what you guys are saying, and I get a lot of new information.
Well, this kind of like cycles back to what your original purpose was the types of different seedling or what we were talking about, the seed
Starseeds?
Yeah, the Starseeds. And that's kind of like the God, what do I want to say? The Andromedans. And their purpose in the Starseed is to save Earth because they destroyed their world. And they've come here, out of either, I don't know, chance or decision, and they're they see a kind of parallel species, you know what I mean, to where they see things like we're kind of like them.
And I talk about this with the Greys all the time.
Yeah, we're destroying our world, but they came here and they're like, hey dudes, come on man, chill out.
I always say that the Greys, in my belief, from what I know from just like channeling and listening and just what I see, is that they were actually really just like us on a planet just like ours, but millennia and millennia and millennia, you know, of advancement in technology, they got so involved in the tech aspect of it, they started manipulating their DNA to get some of the emotion out so they can like be more focused for whatever reason. I don't have all the answers. It's just a theory. And what they did was they eventually ended up getting all of the emotion out altogether, to the point where like they manipulated their DNA so much that within 2 generations, they couldn't any longer reproduce. And now they see us going that same route with ruining our planet and tech. Now they were forced underground somehow on their own planet, which is why we don't see more human looking grays. It's because they're humanoid, but it's because they live underground. You know, there's no sunlight. They're gray. They're kind of gross looking, to be honest with you. And that's why they need our genes so bad, or our DNA is for these hybrid programs and these seedings. I believe the reptilians are more responsible for the seedings because those usually come from assaults on women, mostly when they're sleeping. But I believe that the Greys are now very interested in us, not only for our DNA, but also because at some point they're going to be like, look, this is people that have been abducted by them have reported time and again having no experimentation done on them, except for they were shown like this whole story of like a planet that looked like Earth and people that looked like humans, or you know, entities that looked human, and they were shown the whole story of everything that I just said, and then brought back to their bed, and they wake up in the morning like, was I abducted, and why was I shown a movie, you know? And there is case after case of that happening.
Well, there's with the Starseeds, I'm going to keep you on topic, okay? So, like the Moldex, they were kind of they kind of let robotics control the world, and they were kind of like on the same path we are, to where robotics and robots controlled, you know, all production and everything, and that ended up destroying the world. So the remaining Moldex are here to try to help us make better decisions with politics, with robotics, and, you know, with our financial, you know, situations throughout the world. So like I told you, I'm not an entire believer in all this stuff, but I do know a bit about it, you know, so it's, but then you have to ask yourself, why do they care?
Well, because Edna just hit the nail on the head, and I put it up there because, you know, if we do something that completely destroys our planet, how do we know the effect it's going to have on the entire universe or galaxy or multiverse or other realms and dimensions that are on this planet? We are not the only people on this planet. There are people right beside me right here, and there's someone right beside me right here, and maybe someone's living in the 1600, maybe someone's in the year 2 AD, you know. So we're destroying literally everything on the planet, and in multiple dimensions on the planet. Actually, you know, I just chose to drink a Red Bull, but there's a Gemma who did not drink a Red Bull tonight. It's that small. You know, I chose to wear a blue shirt, but there's a Gemma that chose to wear a red shirt. You know, there's a Gemma that's still in active addiction. There's a Gemma that, you know, graduated high school and then college and became an FBI agent like I always wanted. There's movie star Gemma because that was my other dream. There's so many, but we'd be destroying so much just on an Earth level.
Well, can we let the old Mr. Crowley go?
You want to go?
No. I said, can we let the old Mr. Crowley go?
Oh yeah. Well, I think you've come a long way. In fact, I know you have. From when I first met you, this like rambling, almost broken mess, to the intelligent person that I see in front of me. And you're a great friend, and you're very sweet. Guys, don't let the gruff look fool you. He's actually a softie. No, I think you've come a heck of a long way. And I told you today, I'm super proud of you. Just your overall energy, if we're talking about energy, of your texts is completely different. I would look at your texts in the beginning when we first started talking, and honestly, because I pick up emotion so easily, even through text, I would be sad. And a lot of the time, that's why I would be like, oh, and like I would feel what you were feeling when you texted it. And now I can look and be like, oh, you know, it's just, and that's why I talk to you a lot more, to be honest. Carl.
I know. That was actually, thank you, sweetly morbid bear.
Where is she? You know, you can pull comments.
Well, I suck at that shit. Oh God, I said it again. Sorry.
It's okay. As
I'm
long
so
as we're
terrible.
aware of it, then the trolls can't say she was just
I'm
blatantly
sorry.
let people
I'm
curse.
sorry.
That's the problem, is if I don't address it, then they can report me. If I address it, it's different. And you're throwing F-bombs every 2 seconds. You
There's
just have to be
certain
more
words,
mindful.
certain words I don't seem that are that bad. But no,
I say the F word a lot.
Really? No, you
It's
don't.
really hard.
You say the D word a lot.
I know. Guys, the D word. Ducking. We decided today, Crowley and I, that ducking is an acceptable curse word now, and it's going to be universal. We're going to make it a thing. Hashtag ducking is a curse word. That's what we're doing.
And she
Sweet
ducks a lot, just so you know.
Mr. Crowley, I get it. I was raised by a rocket scientist, and it's hard for him to wrap his head around it, merge the two, science and spirituality, and we need people like you. And that's kind of what I was trying to say in the beginning, but I couldn't say it so eloquently. You and even people who are completely skeptical, we do need you, because it wouldn't be balance otherwise. It would just be everyone just kind of going along. And I do feel very strongly about a lot of things, and I get very but that's something I'm working on, and don't ever take it personally. I'm just an alpha personality online. In real life, not so much, but online, I'm a little more dominant and outgoing. And
that's what
Ghost,
the funniest thing
okay?
is. That's the funniest thing we are, is we're both alphas, like super alphas, but we get along so well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that kind of, we play off each other. And then we have Ghostdragonz, who barely ever talks, and people are like, why don't you let him talk more? And I'm like, yeah, give him his chance. And he's like, I don't know what to say. You're muted.
You on mute? Yeah. I'm going to take a break and let him talk for a minute.
Oh, no, you're fine. See, I'm a listener. I absorb everything I hear for some strange, uncanny reason. And I observe. So I'm that guy that sits in the background and sucks in all this information. And it's coming to a point now that my head's about ready to explode, because I've been doing it for so long that I literally have to take once a month. I have to go somewhere and just write or splur it all out, but it never works. I come up with things when I do talk, things come out of my mouth that I don't even know where it came from. And it freaks me out sometimes, because even I have to go, wait a minute, I just said that, and I have to go check to see if I'm right. So it's just one of those situations. Now everything, I talk telepathically.
Ghostdragonz.
Most dragons do. But no, I do. I like to listen. I know I feel sometimes like I'm just the guy in a corner in this chat. So it's kind of weird, because I
makes
don't
me look bad, doesn't it?
No, it does a little bit. And I don't mean
Gemma and
to do
Ghostdragonz, but it's really Gemma just talking the entire time.
Yeah, exactly. But when I say something, first of all, I hope I can get it out of my mouth. And then second, it's usually something that either people don't agree with, or you're way out there. But I've gotten so much information in my head so much lately, and I just got done doing like 5 guys from 5 different channels, from politics to Earth to some cryptid stuff. And I'm still trying to get rid of all that information I've sucked, because I sent everything to them. I'm done. I'm actually on a break right now. And it's insane that it still won't leave my head. So.
Eris, yes, he said, I don't want to pull the comment that's up now because I want to get to it, but Eris says, Ghost, you absorb information before you speak. And that's a Virgo sun trait right there.
Yeah, really I do.
Waiting till you have something to say before you speak.
And when I talk, I try to make it as much logical as I can. Sometimes it just, but I try to think it through.
Black Dragon says, dragons don't need to speak to make a point.
No.
And that is very true. Jason, you asked, Gemma, you think that online alpha thing is because face-to-face you get too much empathic feedback? You hit the nail on the head. That is very true.
Yes.
I really, and also it has to do with my astrology. If you believe in such things, it's obviously I do. Being a Pisces sun, Libra moon, if someone and I were to try to if someone were to try to like all that verbal stuff right before a physical assault, I would literally rather lay on my back and pretend to be a turtle to avoid the confrontation than actually engage in any kind of fight or conflict, even physical, mental. It takes a lot out of me. Now, if you ask my husband, he'll probably say different, but that's like what Sweetly Morbid Bear said, when the situation calls for it, I'm alpha, but I'm normally chill. But I really do have this thing in real life going along to get along, because I hate conflict. I always feel, even if there's the smallest little thing that feels off, I'll wait. I won't get sleep, and then I'll think about it all night, and then I'll wake up in the morning feeling like the world is on my shoulders. And really, it's just one person that might be mad at me that I could just say sorry to, and it'll be a simple fix. But that whole thing is so big to me that I actually lose myself in it because of the emotional feeling, which is another reason I don't talk on the phone. Because I pick up not only what I'm feeling, what the other person's feeling. And if it's any kind of heated or sentimental type of conversation, then I have to feel what I'm making them feel on top of what they're already feeling and what I'm feeling. And that's a lot of feeling. So I don't like to do it.
See, my thing is when it comes to that stuff, when it comes to arguing with somebody, I usually look them in the face. If it gets to the yelling and screaming, I say, stop. I'm not going to argue. You don't win a fight that way, and you don't lose a fight that way. Just calm down, and when we're ready to talk, I'll sit and talk to you. I'll listen to both sides. But when it comes to screaming and yelling, I usually do the go away.
If
I don't want to deal with it
yelling,
right now.
Then nobody's listening.
It doesn't solve anything.
I actually proposed this to my soon-to-be ex-wife and my son, is take down notes.
Mm-hmm.
If you're angry with somebody and something upsets you, take down a note and write it down. Then when you're not angry, at the end of the day, at the end of the week, whatever else, take those notes to somebody and say, this is what upset me. What can we do to fix it? And that's
I keep tabs of everything.
What
I
happens
really do.
too with me is when I snap, I immediately snap, and I'll be texting something really nasty and really mean. And as soon as I send it, I'm like, oh, first of all, I feel what the other person feels when they read it, or when they heard me say it. So I have to deal with that. Then my own guilt. I'm working on that. I can say that is one of the most majorest, and that's not a word, flaws that I have.
It is now.
When I'm angry, flying off the handle. And then within seconds, I'm okay. And the other person's obviously angry because I just said some stuff. But me, I'm just like, why can't you just get over it? I'm over it now. Like, it's all about me, and that's something that I really, really try to be cognizant of and work on every day, to just kind of, because, then I think about it, 2 hours later, and I'm like, oh, that wasn't even that. Why did I do that? Like, the guy was 10 minutes late. Like, why did I go off on this whole entire, it's something I've dealt with my entire life. I spent a lot of time in addiction, and even afterwards, completely and totally alone, or with my now toddler son. So my interaction with people now is like very awkward. I remember I was standing with my dad, maybe like 3 or 4 years ago at a gas station, and one of his old friends that he had known his whole life came up to talk to us, and we're all in this conversation, and I just turned and walked off and went, like, my dad's like, that was really rude. And I'm like, well, I was done. Like, what do you mean? He's like, you should say like, bye, nice to meet you. I'm like, oh, like my social skills are so bad in real life. I always feel like everyone is judging me on how I look, how I talk, how I always feel so broken down with people that I would prefer online communication over face-to-face almost any day. Bob Birkins, welcome.
Oh, Bob Birkins.
Good old Bob.
Bob, B-O-B, Bob.
Like I said, he makes me nervous in SOR, but when he comes over here, I love to see him. Guys, I have a ton of new decks. I have the Fairy Guidance Oracle, which came in a really weird box, has these tiny little, really awesome cards, and then a book this thick for like 40 cards.
So you're wanting to do readings?
Tonight, no, but tomorrow, because we're ending.
Well,
or I'm ending in 6 minutes. You guys
can
if you want. But I have to
hanging in there is what I'm doing right now.
I have to get a video filmed for you guys for content for Thursday. I was a day late today. Just let me say what I need to say, then you guys could sign off. Guys, thank you so much. Go on over to Moon Bear Oracle and subscribe. Now that I have this site that Mr. Crowley sent me, there's going to be a lot more there a lot quicker.
Yeah, check that out. That's neat. That's neat.
Really cool. I have still 2 a week in content plus the weekly 3 card. The weekly 3 card is going to eventually sometime soon be moved over to Moon Bear Oracle because I'm barely getting any views on it, and I'm not going to continue to put it up. It's like lowering my algorithm. I do worry about those things sometimes. So I'm going to put that on Moon Bear. So if you're not subscribed to Moon Bear, you're not going to get the weekly 3 card anymore. And the merch is in the description box of this video. It's on Etsy. Okay, and I am starting. I got all the packaging today, except for the free gifts. I'm waiting for them to arrive, and I'm going to be making homemade sprays, lotions, and soap. But for now, it's going to be sprays and like empowerment spray and cleansing spray and clearing spray and passion spray and Gemma's magic spray and spray the bee away and all that kind of stuff. So that would be PMS spray, ladies. And I'm also doing a line for every all 12 of the zodiac signs, sun, moon, and rising. There's going to be 36 different sprays for each of them. I'm a Pisces sun, Libra moon, and Aries rising. So I will have one of each for me. And I love you guys so much. And Aunt Edna, yes, I did see that. Thank you so much. I saw the order go in. Pine Island was like, oh, someone else. I'm like, good old Aunt Edna. But I'm hoping to have the sprays out first, and that's probably going to take another week or 2 because I have to design labels. There's a lot that goes into it, but it's going to be well worth the wait. Guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us, talking about things and stuff and nothing and everything. Mr. Crowley, thank you for joining us. Ghostdragonz, thank you so much. As always, you've been amazing.
I like just hanging, even though I'm just a pretty picture in the frame.
Yeah, he's just the looks of this entire stream. But,
I'm sure.
I'm gonna start wearing my mask.
I'm sure you get to sell sprays on me. So.
Tomorrow, I'm gonna do a Mr. Crowley and a Ghostdragonz. Guys, tomorrow from 7:15 to 11 or 11:30 p.m. Eastern, it's Ghostdragonz and I. He's gonna take my list and hang out with you guys while I give a 1 card reading, 1 card weekly reading, first come first serve, come one come all to my channel. Thursday night might be me and Pine Island Research. I have to check with my husband on that schedule if that works, but you'll definitely see me and Jeff Harding on Saturdays from 8 to 10 as well with topic-based content. We each bring the topic, we each talk about our topic for an hour or so. We'll give the extra half hour, so 8 to 10:30 at the end. To give us more time. AK Willie, no, I am no longer on Spaced Out Radio. I really don't want to get into like saying why I'm not, because I want to be the bigger person and the professional and just say that it didn't work out for me. It was a stepping stone for me. Everybody knew that anyway, and it just didn't work out. It's not a karmic thing, as some people like to post on their Facebook. They should learn what karma means. And good night. Love you guys. Be kind to each other and yourselves.
I just think you'd have a
Much
hard
love,
problem
everybody.
being the bigger person. So
I do, but I'm trying really hard.
Well, I'm just saying, like stature-wise. I'm just saying.
All right. Good night, guys.
Good night, hon.
Who's going to
Good
bully
night,
John Hudson?
Jordan.
I don't know. Maybe Brie can do it if she can find the right words. I get it. Find the right words because she can't.
I've kind of wanted to do that.
Bye, guys.
So.
I'm taking you out now, and I'm ending. Bye. Do, 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 do.